Well,
you know?
let's talk about that match next. Maybe Demon's future opponent in the finals, if he makes it there. Carlitos Alcaraz versus Hubie. Carlitos, he got over his kryptonite and Botic van de Zandschulp in the first round. Somehow, not a fluke because Botic was right there with them for the first two sets until Carlos just has that extra gear that guys don't have. But in these slower conditions, in the first time we've seen Carlitos fresh during an indoor court tournament, he has been shining, and this is going to be a tough matchup for Hubie, even with his dominance on serve so far.
Yeah, Alcaraz is rightfully so, just looked a cut above. I mean, yes, strength of his draw has not been, you know, challenging for a player of his caliber. So, first real tests I'd say that we've seen for him this whole tournament with Hurkacz, and good chance for Hurkacz to back up that win against Rublev and try to reassert himself in that, you know, top 15, maybe top 10 conversation this year again. So it's exciting. I think Alcaraz is going to have TMG, and he's got to like his chances in the finals, you know, against either Demon or Boy Bellucci.
This is for sure Carlitos' tournament to lose. And I think a slow hard court is Carlitos' best surface because it allows his athleticism. I think his forehand is the most, maybe next to Sinner's forehand slash backhand, because they're both like equally as lethal. I think Carlitos, when he's ripping his forehand, that's the best shot in tennis. And that really allows him to shine on these kind of hard courts where he gets into rallies and the court opens up and then he can kind of just rip it. And
Hmm.
he's got the speed on defense to track down these balls, kind of similar to a Demon. I think if they play in the finals, those rallies would be absolutely epic and probably like 20 plus shots on the regular every time there's a second serve point. But yeah, I think unless Carlos just plays error prone and starts spraying, and Hubie's like super high first serve percentage, holds easily, that's the only way I can see Hubie like kind of make this a match. But I agree,
Hmm.
if Carlitos plays his best tennis against anyone in the world, it's going to be 2-0 Carlitos most of the time.
Hurkacz is so tough because he can enter serve bot mode, and we saw that Zverev was able to take Alcaraz out because he was, serve botting it out,
But that was on
and
faster hard
like,
courts in Australia. These
yeah,
are little
still
different.
same
These are
game.
little true, little
They are
different
subtle
conditions.
details, and we saw Hurkacz. I don't know if it was 23 that he, had Djokovic uh, two sets down at Wimbledon. Of course, a different surface too, but he was just doing that by taking the racket out of his hands. Even the best returner of all time, Hurkacz has that ability.
Yeah,
So now that he's looking 100%, looking like he's, if not completely, like almost back to the form we saw him, you know,
I think we were a little
he can make it a match.
yeah, I think we were a little premature on our like Hubie's not fully back take. I think that's
Well,
why.
maybe he was a few weeks out and now he's fully back.
Very
I
true, because I think he had a disappointing Australian Open just because he has that top five potential, so his standards are high. So we kind of said, oh, if Hubie is all the way back, he can make a deep run. I think losing to Kecmanovic in straight sets was not what he planned to do. So
mm-hmm.
naturally, we're a little down on him. But this tournament, that
Mm-hmm.
comeback win against Rublev was very impressive after Rublev took the first set. And that
Mm-hmm.
showed me that Hubie can hang. He's still got the game. He's got the serve, and he's got decent movement for like. He's not he's not like Opelka, even though Opelka like we've praised before. But Hubie's got way more rally tolerance and ability to extend points that a lot of these serve bots, when they are that tall, they sacrifice the movement. And Hubie has the movement. That's why he's been like top 8 in the game. Like he's been in Turin. I think
Mm-hmm.
if you look at like Hubie's career, he's close to that level of like Rublev, Tsitsipas, like that generation of accolades. There's not
Mm-hmm.
much they can hold on him because he's been in a Grand Slam final, right? He made Wimbledon. So I love Hubie as a player. He's one of the most likable guys on tour. And I think having him back in the mix is definitely good for the sport. So I hope he does well against Carlitos, but I don't see it. I don't see him winning at least because I think he can make it a close match if he plays well and Carlitos feels the pressure, doesn't play his best tennis.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think, like you
Vamos,
said,
Carlitos.
Carlitos TMG.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta be.
Sinner wins last year. Carlos wins this year. Just come on.
I was
The
really
script has written
surprised.
itself.
Sinner's got like a massive lead in the points for the ranking, so he didn't really like need to win this or play this tournament. But I thought that was a surprising like scheduling thing. Maybe it has to do with his body after a deep physical AO run. But he,
Yeah, and
you know,
knows Zverev too, possibly for the same reason.
so this is a huge tournament in the grand scheme of things for Carlitos to come through and to win, like we said
Mm-hmm.
before, because that's what if he wins this plus 500 points in a tournament he didn't play, minus 500 points from Sinner, also
Mm-hmm.
gaining 500 points on to Zverev in the race for the 2 seed. I think Carlos managing his schedule, playing these tournaments even after not the deepest AO run, I think it's by the time we get to clay season, I think it's going to be Sinner number 1, Carlos relatively close number 2,
Yeah, I mean,
and that's what we all want.
Sunshine Double is in March
Yeah,
because those are big. Could like for Zverev and Alcaraz specifically. Zverev doesn't do very well, and Alcaraz does very well in those
his
tournaments. That
best.
could swing a lot, and I'm not sure exactly what the point totals are at, but if at Roland Garros, if Alcaraz was the 2 seed instead of Zverev being the 2 seed, then that would change everything because Alcaraz and Sinner would meet in the finals instead of the semis.
That's what we've been craving it. I've been craving it. Every time I fill in a bracket, I'm like, please, just tennis
It's
gods,
it's
give
only
us,
happened like 3 times, right?
like, give us, but never even in a Grand Slam final. That's what I want. Is the Nadal Federer for the title? Because that's when it's going to be the most box office tennis. That's when the most is on the line, and that's
Mm-hmm.
when the future is written. And I want these two guys, and they've proven so far that they are the ones that are writing the tennis history so far. So can we please see them play each other? I feel like it's been so long, and then like if they do play, it's at like a 1,000 in like the semifinals. So it's like, come on, dude. This
Mm-hmm.
should be only if they play, it should only be in the finals.
Let's
But
see.
I would love it. I hope Carlitos takes the Rotterdam crown. Let's go into the Wild West though. ATP Dallas.